I'm here to help my clients to sell or maybe upgrade or downsize to another home. That's my mentality. I'm not here to, of course, money will come. But money is not my first motivation. That's why to me it's people before profit.
Show. I'm Jenny Woon, your co-host of In the House podcast. Tony couldn't make it today, but we have a very special guest, Tina Mak of Macdonald Realty. How are you doing, Tina?
Excellent. How are you doing, Jenny?
Good, thank you. Welcome to our show.
Thank you for having me.
You have a very long history in real estate, and you're involved in many different things. I thought I was involved in a lot of things. You're like double that. Your motto, though, people before profits, and I can just tell, just talking to you before this recording, how much you are a people person because you love to network. So I want to get into some of those details, but I have one opening question usually that I ask all the guests. And the one question is, what is your spirit animal?
My spirit animal? Actually, it's horse.
Ah, is that your Chinese sign as well on the Chinese calendar? No, okay. But horse, yeah, horse is strong, loyal, very like strong-willed.
Well, it's kind of like, you keep on running, you keep on going. And, some of the horses got wings, you fly everywhere.
And you're always running around. I have a list of things that you're involved in, but I'm going to let you introduce yourself and give a background to our listeners. Do you want me to name all the things
Oh, God. I don't know. Well, anyway, I try to summarize them as much as I can. So I moved here in 1991, so I started my career in 1992, so it's my 30th year this year. And first of all is that when I got into the business, it was a fluke. No idea, because when I was in Hong Kong, it was all about parents buying. I had no say. Then I joined NRS at that time. If anybody still remembers, only the people's like my era will remember, but none of the younger generation will know what NRS was all about. But it was a pretty big organization, okay? Since 2010, I had my first speaking gig in US, and the rest is history. So I've been speaking on all the major platforms in US, NAR, ARIA, which is part of my life right now, Asian Real Estate Associations of America. We have 17,000 members, and I founded the Vancouver chapter in 2012. So it is our 10th year's anniversary, and it was the first chapter outside US. And spoke on Inman, Co-op Banker at that time when I was with Co-op Banker, and now with Macdonald Realty. So far and so forth. So and then I have my radio show since 2007.
2007, yep.
Yeah, on AM1320. So it's my 15th year's anniversary. So I have many anniversary this year.
Totally. Congratulations on all this. And for making medallion.
Yeah, well, the most important thing is that I'm now serving more locally in our real estate board. So I'm the committee of the board director committee, that one. And then I also part of the diversity, equity, and inclusiveness advisory group. So it's my passions about bridging the cultural gap.
So yeah, let's talk a little bit more about that, because you're involved in so many programs and initiatives. Why is it so meaningful to you? Like, what makes it so meaningful?
Well, first of all, to me is that I spend half of my life making myself financially sound. I don't want to use the successful, because success is all depends on how we measure it, right? It can be very successful in friendship, in money. I don't want people to think about success is related to money. But second half of my career now, I'm planning on retirement. I don't know if I ever would, but it's reaching that stage. so I think that is good for me to give back to our industry, give back to on the radio, because the radio show is about is 80% reach out to the Chinese community. To me, it's not a platform for me to get more business, especially now we have this dual agency we're not allowed, right, since 2018 June. So to me, it's about educating the Chinese community about a lot of things, because the mainstream media has a lot more information, to me, as far as I see it, than the Chinese community. So I would like to bring as much information as possible, both locally, nationally, and internationally, to educate the Chinese when they buy, sell, and invest.
So, what are some of the myths that the public sees and hears about versus what's actually going on, where you're trying to bridge that gap and ensure that there's no miscommunication or misrepresentation?
Well, first of all, the Chinese, they always think about if no Chinese buying, nobody's buying. Obviously,
Right.
COVID proved them wrong, right? COVID is all about domestic. So for years that I want to let them know that what is going on around Canada, locally, like in Vancouver or BC. That's why I have so many different guests, elite professionals in our industries, economists and all that on my show, to share the information. So they don't just think about Richmond, Vancouver, Burnaby, Coquitlam, things like that. There's a lot more places. Chilliwack is going crazy, Maple Ridge going crazy. They don't go there, right? But they need to know. And the myth is the Chinese think about, they need to think, bigger than themselves. And for the mainstream, I would like to, to let them know that it's not all Chinese are rich, and not all Chinese are with corrupted money.
Right.
Not Chinese are all with money laundering things, This is the perceptions. Unfortunately, media has some good information, but sometimes is a little bit
Twisted. Yeah. Yeah. They want to be able to point fingers.
I mean, like, you know what? I just in the media, in the business, media is very powerful. If we can use them, like to give all the, no fake news would be ideal, but it is what it is. So that's why to me, I like to share fact. It's not about what I think or what you think or what they think. I prefer fact and data. Some people, they don't believe in data, or they think that, okay, this data from this country must be fake. And if, I'm not gonna, like, we're all entitled to our opinions. It's no problem. But, I'm there to present, and then however they want to interpret is up to
Full
them.
transparency is so important in our business to be able to gain the confidence of the public, and you winning the Inman Top 100 Most Influential Real Estate Leader back in 2012 and 2013, you're the perfect person to be an advocate for representing us in encouraging like diversity and equality. What type of gaps, or what is it that we need to understand more of in our, like, what's the biggest social issue that we need to be pressing on?
I think that this is very common for any Asian group. It's not just Chinese, Chinese, Korean, Japanese, Vietnamese, Indians, you name it. All the, not the mainstream one, or immigrants, but, like Canada is an immigrants country. But we tend to just have small groups instead of, like embrace everybody. We think that we're very metropolitans. We have so many different culture. We have so many languages, but we don't really know each other. We really don't. Especially as a realtor, just because we have open house, we have another, like non like ESL persons to come in, okay? And just because they are Chinese or Persians or Indians or any, like not non-white, clients walk in there. Just because of that, and we do a deal with them, it doesn't mean that we understand them. We don't understand the culture. We don't understand, Chinese has thousands of years of culture. I'm learning it still, as an, like I'm first generation immigrants. So let alone the second generations or third generations, many of them, they don't speak a word of Chinese. And like Indians, I learned a lot of things about Indians. So Aria, we're having an event, it's talk about Indian feng shui as well. Feng shui is not just about Chinese, but like different people is very global right now, globalized, the feng shui thing. So I think that we need to be willing to make an effort to put ourselves in their shoes. Understand, I always have one saying: how we behave has everything to do with how we're being brought up. And it has nothing to do with the color of your skin. Even the East Coast and West Coast, we think differently. So how are we going to bridge that gap? And so to me, I have a passion for that. That's just me.
So it's more about curiosity and more about asking questions and being interested in learning about other people.
Yeah, because that's how we expand. That's in a way is how we expand our business. Because we intend. I mean, like let's put it this way. For example, Caucasians, doesn't matter, Canadian, Americans, just Caucasians in general. If they go to Japan, Thailand for holiday, to China or Hong Kong, whatever, it's very natural that they will, if they go to a restaurant, a pub, for drinks, if they see their own same color skin, same language, speak the same, you automatically being drawn to not network, but to say, hi, how are you doing? Hey, what are you doing here? Things like that. It's the same here. We understand, but we have to be willing. Asian in general is a little bit more shy to put themselves out there and network. And that makes people think that we are not wanting to engage. Some of us are because of the English. And I understand that part. And Vancouver actually is really good. Like we understand Chinglish here, right? So it's all
my
good
language.
here.
Let's hop off because we start off quite serious, which are very serious topics and something that we need to definitely explore more and expound on it. But about your business, your top 5% year after year and 30 years in the business, tell us more about your team because you got lots of projects going on. Who's on your team and how is it structured? If you have a team. Okay.
My team is my full-time assistants that I cannot live without.
Okay.
Yeah. And not that I don't want to build a team, not that I don't want to share my wealth. I admit that I box myself in a way that because all my business is 100% referrals. That I find that all my referrals, they just want to work with me. And every single time if I have someone else to work with them, they don't like it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm working with second generations and all that. It's not that I don't want to have a team. I have had a team in the past. Okay. Didn't work out. And I'm not proud to tell you what I'm going to tell you, but I did. I fired 18 people in my career. I'm a workaholic person. I work 24/7. I cannot do that anymore because I'm aging. So like last night, I have this in my head all day long, something, how to do the marketing things and all that. I wasn't able to sleep until like 6 a.m. this morning. And then I had and then I started to have my first Zoom call at 9:30. This is not healthy. I'm not telling people to copy, but this is why there's a team. The team is to share workload. Mm-hmm. And everybody's style is different.
But you have a full-time assistant.
Yes.
Okay. So
regardless what the market is like, I will not fire her. I will
okay.
not.
So using that as leverage to sustain what you have, what do you still do in the business? I mean, you're obviously meeting up with your clients yourself. So tell us what your assistant does so that you don't have to be that hands-on on maybe the admin or whatever it is. But what is it? How do you guys divide these tasks?
She definitely does all the admin work. So I don't do any paperwork anymore. And for any MailChimps, like all those monthly things to go out, I give her the content, she handles it and all that. Follow up with showings. So that's what she does. And my strength is network. And a lot of us, we don't network enough. Canadians is very shy about networking. East Coast is better, but West Coast is definitely still weak. Networks brings a lot of referrals. Like, doesn't matter when the market is slow, to me, especially when the market is slow. All the referrals is where it keeps my business going and keep it in the same level is because of that. Number one. Number two, people thought that I focus in Chinese. I don't. As I mentioned that I like to embrace all different, ethnicity backgrounds clients. So Chinese actually probably is about 35% of my clientele. And the rest is all over. Indians, Middle Easterns, of course, Caucasians, locals, and all that, you name it. And my age group is from 19 to 90. So I'm happy to know that, to be able to work with the younger generations, I guess, because I'm cuckoo.
No, you're cool. Not cuckoo, cool.
So that was actually my maiden name. No, actually, I beg your pardon. It was my
Cool or
married name.
cuckoo? Okay.
Cool. That was my married name. So people will call me Tina Koo or Tina Cuckoo, That was my married name until I changed it back to my maiden name. So I think knowing different cultures helps me to just focus in one, ethnicity business, and that's sustained. It makes my business more sustainable.
Yeah, it sounds like you're very open in not really trying to niche yourself into a specific segment or a demographic, which is fantastic.
Niche, in a way, to me, niche is about knowledge, is about experience. This with all the technologies going on and social media is going on, the end of the day is our experience and to guide our clients. I mean, how many dance can you dance in front of TikTok? Okay. I can only do a couple once in a blue moon, no problem.
If you're sitting here next to me, we would be finishing off the episode with a TikTok.
No problem. I can do that, but not dancing all day long.
That's okay. It's not.
I love dancing, but not that.
Yeah. Most of them are dancing for free. They're not really making a lot of money anyways.
No, dancers are artists. They spend their whole life disciplining themselves.
No, it's a true art form for sure. I'm probably just saying it because I can't dance. So you talked about referrals as your main part of the business. With somebody who's just getting into the business now, into the industry, and interactions and face-to-face is really hard right now because it's limiting, the restrictions are limiting us and how we do business. So what advice do you have someone who's just starting off and have that personality like you, where they want to be able to get out and talk and they meet new people, but we can't do, open houses have to be usually by appointments with their agent. So what do you recommend for somebody like that?
Obviously, COVID makes a lot of things, more difficult. There's no doubt about it. However, if you're willing to team up, with someone, that is one way of doing things. People who get into the business that, they sometimes have a perceptions that they get into the business and they can make money right away and make a lot of money and things like that. It's not. To me, is that, of course, like, you need to have some financial, you know, piggy bank money put on the side, because you might not have a deal for 6 months, and you might not have, and you keep on having expenses, in the office or your phone or your car, and we need to have a PhD in frustration, disappointment. And so that will be something that is very important. And especially for those that, if you think that you can do part-time, a lot of people that get into the business, they think, oh, I can choose my own time. And then if you choose your own time, meaning that you have too much free time, and then you're not professionals and enough to give advice, things like that. So that is a difficult part. And so in North America, the average age group for realtor is 50 plus, 52 years old.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, in North America. So it's getting younger and younger. Excuse me. And that's the reason why is that when you're younger and younger, one thing that you have to, what do you call that? You have to accept one thing is that when you're young, and especially right now, is a lot of millennial coming into the market. There's a lot of millennials down payment is from the parents. You have to be able to earn the parents' trust. Because let's be real, if you are about 30 years old, late 20s, or whatever the case may be, it's just like a lot of people, they get into the insurance business. As soon as they get their insurance license, they're trying to get all the families and friends and buy insurance. And then,
Yeah.
right? But if you get into the real estate business and everybody knows you, your friend knows you that you're rookies, you're new and all that kind of stuff, and you're trying to get them to help you, and it happens to want to buy a house and they're not buying through you, you got to be very upset. Why are you not giving me the opportunities? Because they know you too well. So go to meet stranger. Or another thing is that, if your boyfriends or no, not your boyfriends, girlfriends, but if your friends break up with their boyfriends or girlfriends, ask about the feeling. The reason why I'm saying that is just like we have to work with divorced people. So if you haven't divorced before, you don't know how to do this mentally, psychology, holding hands, because you don't have the experience. But when you're young, if your friends, they happens to break up with their boyfriends or girlfriends and crying and whatever the case may be, understand the feeling. Because buying a property, sometimes they get into, like just because they live together for a while, so they want to buy something together for the future. First of all, is besides getting a mortgage pre-approval and how much they can buy and things like that, better know the parents. In that case, if you gain the parents' trust, then the chance that you get their business is higher. Because or else the parents, I guarantee you, will know some realtor.
Absolutely. Well, everybody knows at least, 7 realtors or something like that. So you talked about trust. You talked about emotional intelligence, being able to connect and find their problems. You also mentioned letting 18 people go in your history of your career. What are some of the elements that you find that they were missing that didn't work with you? Because you said you're a workaholic, so I'm assuming the work ethic is really high on that list for you.
I had a few comments from those 18 of them. Some of them is that, Tina, you have to lower your standard. Actually, many of them, they asked me, you have to lower your standard. And I talked to people who was in the business longer than me, broker owner, and I said, this is what those people said to me, is that I have to lower my standard. And they all said to me, Tina, are you kidding me? Let them go. Okay, that's one thing. Number two, a lot of the time they come to, a lot of the time when they partner with a known realtor, or they use it as a mentor, not use, but they they seek for mentorship and all that kind of stuff, no problem. I had one that literally in the business is new. I had first time ever. I said, he was a referral from another agent in Whistler. I said, Tina, he has done some translation for me. He's blah, 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 and all that. I said, okay, all right, I'll give it a shot. I spoke to him over the phone, and I could tell that it's too much money oriented. I understand. We're coming into the business is about making money. But it's the first time I said, in order for me to take you on, I have to interview your parents. And I did.
Wow, really? Okay.
I interviewed the parents. And I basically said, this is not an easy career or business. People, they come in here thought that it's easy, or just because they like to get on MLS and whatever to look at, like realtor.ca to look at listings. And they think that they like, being an agent, blah, 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 and all that kind of stuff. So 2 weeks later, I fired him. And I said to the parents, I said to mom, I said, Mom, I can help him to do business, but I cannot help you to bring up your kids. It's your job. So I give it back to to her. So a lot of them is that they're trying to get they're trying to, because in 2 weeks time, I happens to have to fly, because in the past, I pick up the suitcase and the flight once every couple months, because I speak in US a lot. And in China and in Hong Kong and all that. So I travel quite a bit. So I let him to handle my business. So the next thing is that he wants to have half of my commission when he's absolutely brand new to the business. I don't mind that when you have been able to get to certain level. And I said, I can have all the business and give it to you, and I just take 25% referral and I retire, no problem.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But you cannot run before you can walk. So that is mine, and like maybe that damaged my desire to build a team. Maybe that's the case, because to me is that I'm here to help my clients to find a home. I'm here to help my clients to sell or maybe upgrade or downsize to another home. That's my mentality. I'm not here to, of course, money will come. But money is not my first motivation. That's why to me it's people before profit. I would rather recently, I have clients wants to go and buy pre-sale. And we went over to look at some pre-sale. And after, it's a referral from Edmonton. So they moved here from Edmonton. They have no idea about the buying process here because it's different from Edmonton. And so after I get to know the personal situations and all that kind of stuff, I said, you know what? Take your time. Have the baby first. We'll come back and look again when you're ready in the future. To me, I earned the trust because they said that, Tina, when I come back, like when we come back, it's like maybe the end of the year and things like that, we absolutely only want to work with you. The difficult part is we are so into making sure we close the deal today because we believe once they are gone, they won't come back to us. But this is up to us, how we earn their trust, to know that we are their advisor. We give them the right advice. We're not just trying to sell them something. And they will come back to you. You might not sell them something today.
Yeah, and those type of conversations happen all the time because everybody's life cycle and purchasing decisions, it's so different from one person to the other. And yeah, I'm finding that being in the business for 30 years and now you're seeing the newbies coming into the business, how has that growth mindset or how has that mindset changed from what you've seen?
First of all,
or expectations, I guess.
Well, first of all, I see a potential negotiation skill, for lack of a better word, like weakness. because the younger generations, millennial, whatever, we're so used to Amazon buying, online buying, and all that kind of stuff, and there's no negotiation there. If Amazon said this product is $1,000, you pay. You don't negotiate with them. So I only want to give you $850. That's where I see the issue is that when I recently received an offer from a millennial agent, work with a local Caucasian millennial agents, work with millennial Japanese couple, and they present an offer. It's a lowball offer, but that's okay. I just say that we can all go lowball. Asians love lowballing things, okay? Don't take it personal, you know?
They're speaking your language.
Exactly, right? So he came with a lowball offer. I said, okay, Mr. Buying Agents, so how did you come up with this? And then so he said, yeah, I understand it's low. So why don't you give me your bottom price and then I'm going to try to close it. So I said to him, I said, Asian don't function that way. We play poker game. We don't give you our bottom line. And then he said, yeah, I found out. But, like, how come, why, it's more straightforward, right? Canadian is very, very kind. And sometimes, we take things for, like, because especially the online business is no negotiation, things like that. So, of course, his offer didn't fly. I sold it to somebody else. But this is what I find is that this is what he told me is that, yeah, I don't understand, like, why is this go back and forth so many times? Why can't you just give me a rock bottom price and then I try to close it? Because I know that he wouldn't be able to close it because he's working with a Japanese too, an Asian too. So, like, I don't know where they end up, but that's what I find that is the the current situation. It's the technology. Everything is so non-negotiable online.
I definitely recommend to those listeners reading Never Split the Difference. It's a fantastic book. I don't know if you've read it, but it was part of our book club for one of the months, and it's a fantastic read. And I'm going to go back into it because I'm going to have to be recruiting new agents to my brokerage. So I'm going to go back into reading, how to make conversations flow. But yeah, no, those are some really good points. Just shifting our conversation, where do you, because you're so in tune with, I feel, across Canada and into the States, and you're traveling quite a bit with international real estate. So what do you see happening outside of BC?
BC will never have a problem, in my opinions. I said it for many years, even back in 2008, when, we had the global economy crisis, US, subprime, that time. I always said, the messier out there, the better Canada is. The better Canada is, the better Vancouver is. We cannot duplicate Vancouver or BC. Just can't. All the major cities in Canada is talking about us here, Toronto. Okay, maybe more now is about Ottawa, Montreal. Alberta looks like they're coming back because the oil is doing well. And COVID makes the whole country more expensive. And you will always have people wanting to come to BC because of our water and our mountain. Mm-hmm. And in Chinese way, feng shui is we're a very prosperous province. We are very similar to Hong Kong. Hong Kong is also mountain and water. Hong Kong is an island surrounded by water. So Hong Kong is one of the most expensive, housing values in the world, right? Ask about affordability, tough. But they have, affordable housings that we're having more and more now here, which is a good thing. So I don't worry about BC. Maybe I'm too naive, but no, I don't worry about it.
Where do you see as where do you see the top 3 spots to invest in anywhere in the world?
Oh, anywhere in the world? Okay. It all depends on how you define invest. Because I find that this has come to this is very interesting. People invest in many different for many different reasons. One, they invest for the children. So they're actually buying for the children. They're not really, like it all depends on where the children wants to be with. Okay. And then sometimes it's okay, I want to be close to the school. And that's how they define invest, close to the school. And the real investor should be the one who's looking for return on investment, both cap rate or return on investments, long term, short terms, all that kind of stuff. But we don't have too many of those around. People, they invest, and sometimes they say, for example, I have a project right now in North Burnaby, and I got people from Vancouver West or West Vancouver or Richmond. They said, oh, it's too far away. Hello? What is too far away? I have clients I work in the past. They want to invest in Metro Town. I said, sure. I said, but Metro Town is expensive. Why don't you consider New West? Oh, New West is too far. I said, are you serious? I said, Metro Town in New West is probably 5 minutes. I give you 10 minutes with all the lights if you hit every single red light. But people, the mind of investment is very different. Number one. Number two, politics and real estate will never separate. If you want to invest anywhere outside BC or anywhere outside your comfort zone, understand the political situation in wherever you're thinking about. Because their rental rules could be different. They might not, for example, San Francisco has very, very tough rental restrictions. And you basically cannot kick out any tenants. Okay? Right. So you need to understand the political, the rules, the policy, and all that before you invest. Even if they say that, okay, you have 10% return. But you need to understand. So I dare not say where is the best place in the world if I want to pick. Because a lot of the people, they say, okay, I only want to invest in prime city in the world, which is why the prime city in the world, including Vancouver, will never have, or will never be cheap. Because in the world, people, they like to invest in prime city.
These are awesome tips. So really, it's really subjective, and you really have to evaluate what is your intention with that investment at the end of the day. And look up the policies for rentals. This is...
And capital gain.
Yeah, definitely. We didn't touch too much on the two projects that you have been consistently participating in and started was that the Vancouver chapter, the ARIA, the Asian Real Estate Association of America, and AM1320, your talk show. So tell us how you incorporate that into your schedule, into the weeks, how you find guests for or recruit members for your chapter, and what it means to you when you're like, are you getting business out of this? What you gain out of it in for you?
I won't use the word gain because when I do it, it was not because of gain. Like I said, I go back to people before profit situations. Okay, for ARIA is I have a passion to bridge the cultural gap. And affordable housing and things like that. And ARIA is a platform for everybody, for all real estate related professions, not just for realtors. It could be inspector, management company, whatnot, mortgage lenders and all that kind of stuff. It's a network, networking opportunities, because as we, as a realtor ourselves, we know that not now, but before COVID, how many lenders will contact us and say, hey, Tina, or hey, Jenny, let's go for a coffee. Let me tell you what we can offer you. So, how many coffee can you drink? So to me is that this is a platform for everybody get together, learn and network, exchange business card, and do whatever you want to do. And that's the main things, that's the beauty of ARIA. It's not just about realtors. It's about every real estate related professionals platform.
Mm-hmm. How many members are in the Vancouver chapter right now?
Well, we were in the hundreds, but now because of COVID, let's be real, nonprofit organizations, and we are about 60 people right now, and we want to grow. For sure, we want to grow, and we want to make sure that like through this platform, we learn. So we talk about education all the time, but when it comes to an opportunities to get educated, so go back to for whenever there is an opportunities for educations to be educated, sometimes we don't participate enough. I think that either the real estate board PDP program, because we take it because we know that without the PDP we won't be able to renew our our license.
Yeah.
But other than that, we might not want to do that. We might not want to get educated because we're too busy meeting clients, and so the clients and the appointments will come first, and the education part come after. So we would like to, it's a self-motivation thing. It's the curiosity. For example, we're having our feng shui, a global feng shui seminar tomorrow. January the 28th. If you missed it, we'll try to record it and share with you. But it's about global feng shui. Feng shui is not just about Chinese. It's different culture. How they interpret it, how they interpret feng shui, as an Indians, Middle Easterns, Chinese, Koreans, all that kind of stuff, right? It's an education.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you, because I started in the business and same work ethic. I'm nose to the ground, and I'm just trying everything I can, and I'm not saying no to anything. And I remember I would go from collecting so many different examples of marketing pieces so I can learn from them. I remember signing up for every single newsletter and real estate coach I can so that I get my inbox filled with tips and videos. And I remember taking extra courses, even though I already reached my PDB requirements. I would take extra courses to learn more about the business because I wanted to be very knowledgeable. I remember taking night classes at the Vancouver Community College about feng shui, about construction. And I don't know if the younger generation that are coming into the business are as motivated or self-driven like that.
That's one thing about the we can encourage the younger generations to learn more. Instead of going to take a course on the constructions and all that kind of stuff, every single inspection, just go for the whole duration of the inspection and learn from the inspector.
Right.
They have the knowledge. So that is what I would recommend. And being on my AM1320, the show, of course, of course I got leads. Especially during COVID, I got a lot. My return on investment is actually much higher because more people at home listening to the radio show. Yeah. So I got seller, I got buyers and all that kind of stuff. So great, But my core motivation is still about education. It's still about letting them know, like what is going on. I had Brandon, our BCREA economist, on my radio show a couple of weeks ago, and talk about anything but statistics. Statistics, but anything but with record high housing values, record high this, and record low inventory. Forget about that because
those are given.
He talks about that every day and night. We all listen to him, right? So I said to Brandon, let's talk about how human behavior has driven the real estate market. So that is a different angles to look at, because how we think, how people think emotionally move from one major city to, to the second tier cities and things like that, how does human behavior change? So that is a matter of curiosity. I want to learn. And so that I can share with my buyer and seller, no matter they are end user or investor. I say, hey, this is the, let's go to explore. If you're really investors, okay, you should consider other cities that is outside your comfort zone. But if you're not, then you're not. Then go back to the Richmond, Burnaby, Vancouver, all that.
Tina, we are almost at the top of the hour. It's been so easy to talk to you. You would think that you're like a radio show host or something like that. So do you have a couple more minutes for me to ask you 5 rapid fire questions? And these are just quick, on your feet. And yes, is that ready to go? You just started in this career and someone gave you $10,000 to start your real estate business. How would you best spend that money?
Branding.
Okay. That our previous guest also mentioned branding, that it's really important to establish that. What do you do for fun outside of work?
Hot yoga. I don't know if that's called fun though.
For some people it is, and for some people it isn't. If you're not, but I love it. I haven't been able to go back into hot yoga. It's the studio is just open for me. So yeah, I'm excited to go back into that. If you're not selling real estate, what other career do you see yourself in?
Consultants. This is knowledge that I've been getting throughout the world. I have so much here that I like to share.
So your speaking engagements, I'm assuming that it's not just about real estate. It's probably about business, about what's your favorite topic that you like to talk about?
Bridging cultural gap.
Name your superpower.
Oh my God. Wonder Woman.
Of one of many. Wonder Woman.
I don't know. I don't have a superpower thing.
That's okay. What's your favorite real estate book or podcast?
Rich Dad, Poor Dad. People, they have a perceptions because the banks always tell us that you have a lot of debt, you have a lot of debt, we have a lot of debt. But there's good debt and bad debt. So that would be my favorite book.
Yeah. The mentality or the stigma of money has been one of the topics that we've explored here. And final question, where can our listeners find you?
Google.
Tina and Mack, Google Tina and Mack. All right, well, Tina from Macdonald Realty, your motto, people before profits, I could definitely tell that you're super passionate about diversity, about cultural differences, about bridging gaps on understanding other people around with different ethnicity. So I really thank you so much for your time and everything that you do and all the positivity that you put into this world with all your projects with Aria and 1320. And again, I would love to have you back in person when we can. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you for sharing and thank you for having me, Jenny.
Thanks, Tina.
Thank you so much. Bye.